So people versus projects. So like this is like a big question, but I think it's come up so much. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts, and I'll give some quick thoughts. And I just wanted to also mention like Casey. There's like the Casey 8Ps or 9Ps, and then I even saw that there's this Katusa Keys, which I don't know if that's been. It's weird. I saw that article and then it disappeared, but it's funny because like it's kind of similar. They're both really good, but both of those say people is number one. I have heard a few other places where projects are number one. I wanted to get both of your guys' thoughts on that.
Interesting question. Well,
Yeah, this is a good one.
my gut reaction is people first. Because I've seen just not so much in this industry, because I think the industry is really a small snapshot of the real world, right? I mean, you get crooks, you get really good people, and you get a little bit of society itself represented, in this one sector. But in the general business world, I've seen apparently competent people who really turned out not to be competent at all do such stupid things and just destroy companies and destroy opportunities. And I'm much more inclined to go with people first. I think that here's the thing. Part of it has to do with the fact that, yes, better people get better results, period, end of story. But I think that because these people, like you said, because the Caseys of the world, because the Katusas of the world are coming out and saying people first, and here, by the way, is a list of all the good people that I recommend, then that is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we believe that those people will do better. They will do better because more people believe that they will do better, and we bid the price up by buying the stock. And so, it's part smoke and mirrors and part reality that these people will likely get better results. Obviously, if you have the right people and a tiny bit of luck, when they actually hit something really good, you have the best of both worlds, and that's where a lot of money is made. But yeah, if I had to pick one of the two, I'd for sure pick the people because of that self-fulfilling prophecy effect.
I would say ideally you can have both. I mean, we're all people and a lot of us are greedy and we want, beauty and brains, right? So, um, I mean, sometimes, I guess I should just point out, it is possible in certain situations and circumstances, like, in brutal bear markets, where you can buy, let's say, we've already talked about this, but, Ivanhoe Mines is a really good example. You have tier one asset and, world-class discoveries, and you really have the best people in the business that are running the ship over there. So in a perfect world, it's not always easy, but sometimes it is possible where you can have both. You can have people and projects. Having said that, for the most part, these opportunities are not always present. So, a lot of times we have to kind of decide, for the bulk of the mining projects out there is, are you going to focus more on people or projects? And, it's not always easy. With this question, it actually makes me think of one of my largest, actually the largest holding I have right now is a company called Birimian Limited, which started off as a gold exploration company in Mali, but now they're focused on lithium. And, this is a great company and a good case study for that very question, people versus project, because you have a stock that, when the company first announced that they were drilling for lithium, so before they even punched one hole in the ground, shares were trading at a peak of about 38 cents per share. And ever since that time, not only have they, completed their first maiden drill program, they've released a scoping study. They've done 2 resource updates, and the last one, they actually basically doubled their known resource to, I believe it was like 27.8 million tons at 1.42% lithium. This is a hard rock lithium, so they primarily are exploring for spodumene, and they're finding it in abundance, and so far everything's looking good. And the share price has collapsed all the way down to most recently, I think it's trading at 29 cents a share. So it went from 38 cents a share before any drilling had commenced, and now we're trading at 29 cents. And they just upgraded their resource, basically doubling their initial exploration target. So, right now there's a lot of disarray in the company and a lot of angry shareholders that are actually voting for the removal of 2 directors. And that vote's actually scheduled to take place next week. They were trying to nominate 2 other directors to, fill that void. And, basically it's like borderline mutiny right now in the community with these shareholders who believe, the management and, the board of directors doesn't have shareholders' interest at best heart, because earlier this year, the company kind of announced that they had signed a letter of intent with a Chinese company to sell off this lithium project for $107 million Australian. And, a lot of shareholders took it kind of as a slap in their face, because they're like, this project should be worth many multiples more of that valuation, because, I guess contrary to popular belief, these high grade of significant size hard rock lithium deposits, they're just really not that abundant out there in the marketplace. They certainly don't grow on trees. So, with this company, it's a great, case study on, do you want a really good project? Because this lithium project is about 50% higher grade than almost anything else out there, with the exception of Greenbushes in, Australia, which is, a tier 1 world-class spodumene project. And there's really nothing else out there that comes close to it. But outside of that project, this is, one of the highest grade lithium projects of significant size. And, it's kind of, as a shareholder, I find it kind of appalling that it's trading at the current market cap of, basically 50 million Australian. It's basically trading like a junior startup explorer that really doesn't have much to its name. But, we're talking about 27 million tons again at 1.42% grade. So it's definitely has the scope right now to support, a 13, 15-year mine life. And, I think the future outlook for lithium is great and all that. So, in this situation, I'm very inclined to just go with the project over the people, as important as people are to making a story work. Because I just think, you kind of have to look at things from a case-by-case basis. But I see the demand for lithium only going up. I see electric vehicles basically revolutionizing the game. It's a total paradigm shift. I just see it as, this hyper-growth potential in the sector. So I would just have to believe and speculate that a project of this type of size and scale and quality is going to be sought after, whether from a prospective Chinese buyer that wants to come along and, buy it out completely, or a joint venture, or, another major, perhaps one of the big 3, or somebody comes along and they say they want to diversify their assets outside of just brine projects in, South America. They want to add like a hard rock project as well. I just would imagine there's going to be a lot of demand for this project. So in this case, I do believe that the project will ultimately supersedes the management. And, no matter how poorly run, this company ends up becoming, I just think the project itself is high quality enough where it can bail out poor management. Because, there's a saying out there as well. It's like, you like with people, you can have like the best person in the world, but if you have a crappy project, it's going to be a crappy project regardless. So you're going to be relying on marketing and hype and promos and newsletter writers and all that more than anything else. But on a fundamental basis, the valuation will never be supported because it really doesn't have merit to its name. But with a high quality project, you can put the biggest idiot in the world. You can probably have me running the ship, and it probably won't be a travesty or a complete failure, because it's just the project's too good, it's too economical, and too highly sought after. So I just think kind of case by case basis. But if I had to lean on extremes, I would rather go with top tier project with really crappy management, as opposed to the best management but just a really crummy project that has no business trading at the current valuation, and it's just existing off and feeding off of hype more than anything else. Because I would always be scared as a shareholder that the story can unravel at any point. When somebody kind of just realizes, wow, this project will never be put into commercial production. The capex is too extraordinary. The economics are lousy, or you'll never get permitting, or just a slew of fatal flaws that could be, that are already present and the market just hasn't discovered it or realized it yet. So, on the extreme ends of the thing, I will lean towards the project, but again, ideally, you'll be able to get both.
Yeah,
Oh,
what I like. Sorry, Nick. What I like. Let me just add this little thing here.
yeah.
What I like, or what I don't like. Sorry, what I don't like about mining is that it's not like a fair race in a sense. Like the tech world. You have a bunch of kids in their dorm rooms making stuff, and then usually the best ones who can catch the best trend will win over time. The thing is, they're all spread out around the world and they're stuck with a property that, nobody really knows what's underneath the ground, what's underneath the dirt. And so they have to keep digging. What I like about the very best people is that they're willing to give up on a project when they see that there's no potential there. So that to me is really important. If it's not working out, get up and move somewhere else. And this is something that really attracted me to Royal World Minerals, which is still very difficult to pronounce fast. Is that they just didn't wake up one day and say, hey, let's go to Colombia. No, they started off with projects, I think, in Turkey, and I didn't like Turkey with their political condition right now. I just everything was very off with the whole coup attempt whenever that happened, and I was like, nah, this is not nice. It didn't seem like very promising to me. Obviously, there's still plenty of people making boatloads of money in Turkey, but I was like, nah, this is off. I don't think I want to invest in Turkey. They then went to Colombia. After they had problems with their project, they said, let's cut our losses and let's go somewhere else. And I think that is one of the ingredients that makes a great person great in this business, because you're stuck with a piece of land you got, and you can't just wish gold into existence. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, otherwise it would have no value. But I think that's also very important.